Angry Joe here, and I'm with Sharon, the story lead and editor for Young Justice Legacy, and of course, the series producers for Young Justice. I'm really excited to talk to you guys. Now, I must admit, huge DC fan, Superman fan. It's cool to see Superboy get a little bit of the limelight. So I guess I'll start with you guys. I have a few questions. Obviously, show's doing well. Got a second season. Excited about it. I was wondering, what's it like to, run a series like Young Justice in the footsteps of such great DC animation such as Justice League and Unlimited?
It's intimidating as hell.
That's what I'm saying.
It's an honor and a challenge. I mean, it's such a challenge trying to figure out a fresh take on how to do superheroes that everybody already has seen a lot of, and they know them and they love them. And those series that came before us were so great in establishing these characters. It was a huge thing for us to try to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this and do it our own way, and make it fresh for the fans, make it fresh for us as well, because we were fans of that stuff as well, for sure.
I mean, Teen Titans and Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, those were such great shows, so different. And when our boss, Sam Register, first sort of suggested Young Justice to the two of us, you could see both of us go, ugh, because it scared us. And so we talked about it, and we found this place in the middle between Justice League, between Teen Titans, where we decided we'd really make our show a whole DC Universe show. We would focus on our teenage leads, but we'd try to play the whole DC Universe in there, and this wouldn't just be about, again, 5 or 6 kids in a tower as if no one else existed. This was going to be about the relationships between the mentors and the teenagers, the dynamics between the teens, and them growing into the larger world that they were becoming a part of. And that felt, as opposed to the Justice League, which was all about these pros, or Teen Titans, which was so much fun, but about, in essence, this clubhouse. We were trying to do a show about growing up and about growing into this larger world, and that felt like a different enough space for us that I don't want to say we felt safe, but we felt a little more comfortable going in the shadow of these other great shows that had come before us.
It worked. So I gotta admit, when I first heard about Young Justice, like, man, I want another Justice League. I want Justice League Unlimited too. But I didn't want to see it at first. I caught an episode and I was like, wow, that was really good. And I think what helped out is that you still get to see the other heroes in there, and then I grew attached to the young team, so it grew as that. So now season 2 is subtitled Invasion. Can you speak a little bit about the invasion and who actually is invading? Does that refer to Savage, what he said at the end of the season, begin phase 2?
Well, everything comes back to the light for us, which is our group of villains that Savage, in essence, is the leader of, Vandal Savage. But we have multiple alien races for whom Earth has been brought to their attention. And not in a small way, not like, oh, there's this planet over there, Earth, and it's inhabited. This is like, no, we've got, people with major abilities and powers on this planet, and it attracts the interest of multiple aliens, multiple alien races, not just one.
People like Lobo. Like, I didn't expect Lobo at all to show up. That was really awesome.
That's right. So Lobo shows up, and we've got other big DC alien villains showing up as the season progresses.
Yeah.
And a couple of alien races that, one we've shown, the Krolitans, in early episodes, and another major alien race that we've been hinting at that I'm not going to blow the secret of right now. But, we plan on...
Come on the Angry Joe Show, premiere.
We do plan on having just, conflicts between these aliens, conflicts obviously between the aliens and our heroes on Earth.
Now, will we see the mentors again, or has the Young Justice pretty much grown up and now it's their own thing? They need to handle the light on their own, or will we be seeing the return of Superman and all those guys, Justice League?
Well, we found a way to sort of sideline the Justice League a little bit in this second season.
Right.
That was kind of important to us because we really established the sort of teacher-student relationship in season 1 between the Justice League and our young team. We wanted to grow our team up for second season. We didn't want the Justice League around as much.
Right.
And so we found a way to sort of get them off screen. And in order to help tell the story of our first season characters growing up, we put our first season characters in that sort of mentor role by bringing in a new roster of young freshmen, as we call them. So it's more of a senior-freshman relationship dynamic that's continuing, the growing up theme of our series overall, while growing our characters.
Excellent, excellent. Now, could we see possibly a third season? Are things going well?
Ratings are strong.
Ratings are
We
good.
don't, it's not our decision to make.
Right.
God knows we'd love to do a
Yeah,
third season,
well.
so we're just waiting. We're waiting like you guys are waiting to see if we get a pickup.
I hope ratings can continue to grow and we see new characters. And I guess what a lot of people wanted me to ask is what was up with the jump in time? And so this kind of leads into the game. Because I was told that the game sort of explains, is this true, the game explains sort of some of the time in between? Is it like sort of season 1.5 technically? How would you...
In a way it is. We planned on this time jump from day one.
Okay.
Because we knew, again, if our show's about growing up, then you can't show a character grow up in 6 months time. So the idea is that our first season told 6 months from July 4th to January 1st. Our second season tells another 6 months from January 1st to July 4th, but there's a 5-year gap in between that we planned. Then when Warner Brothers and Little Orbit came to us and said, hey, we want to do a game, we're like, great, because we've got this 5-year gap. And we sat down and talked about it, and we found this really significant event. I mean, obviously, one game doesn't cover all 5 years. We found one really important event that took place during the 5-year gap, and that's the story that this game tells. So it's canon material, it's in continuity with the series.
That makes it so much more. Yeah, that makes it so much more exciting to get your hands on.
It's not just,
especially if you're
it's another story
a
that
fan
happened
of
in the
this.
5-year gap. This is an important story that happened in the 5-year gap.
It is, and what's nice about it too is it kind of stands on its own. You don't have to know this to understand second season. You don't have to see second season to understand what's going on in the game.
Mhm.
It's a great little game story by itself.
I am notorious on the internet for having reviewed really bad licensed games. That's where I get my name, Angry Joe. I'm happy when I play great games, but when it's a bad game, I get really angry. Examples are, Thor, and Iron Man. These types of games haven't been good. Like just recently, Battleship, the movie game of the board based on the board game. So it gets real confusing. They were bad games. Traditionally, licensed games are a little bit subpar. So my worry and concern is if that would happen for the Young Justice game. So can you maybe speak to me a little bit about, why they felt like Little Orbit was right for this, or what you guys are going to do in order to not fall into that
Well, I do think it touches
trap.
upon your last question, which is, most IP creators won't allow us to tell canon stories, won't allow us to tell major events, because they really want that story for themselves in whatever media that they're telling it in. So, they've been very generous with us in saying, here's the list of things that happened between season 1 and season 2, and we think this would be a good place to focus, and they just let us, run with that. And so that's a real boon to us as a game developer to get to tell that story. And I think that will already set it apart from the other, let's say poor outcomes of those other
Adaptions of
licensed
these,
games.
Yeah. So but I'm just surprised because to be honest, this is the first I've heard of Little Orbit, right? Usually you have a lineup of games. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that'll be good. But you're brand new. It seems like brand new as a company. So, what are you bringing that's unique to this particular video game? Like, how are you going to make it stand out in this crowded market?
I suppose part of it is our sensibility. It's an ARPG, but it's also an ARPG with puzzle elements. So we're sort of, you'll probably hear people say, write stories that you would want to read, and we make games that we would want to play. And so, ARPGs with puzzle elements is probably the best description of the best games that I've ever played. And so, we're passionate about that style of gameplay, and Young Justice, just the characters, all their different skill sets, and the number of people in the team are, it's sort of a perfect blend for ARPG. It's just such a natural fit.
For sure. So describe the gameplay a little bit. Like, is it hack and slash? Do the heroes have certain abilities? Like, does Superboy over time have to learn how to punch things harder?
I would definitely call it a hack and slash with puzzle elements. There's a training element. I believe Black Canary is the trainer in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
like she was in the show.
There's an entire leveling mechanic for each character. Each one brings a different set of skills, and those skills will get leveled up throughout the game. So when you go to play a mission, you can pick 3 of any of the teams that are available to you at that point, any playable character that's available in the game at that point in that mission. You get to pick your own lineup of 3, and you go on that mission with those characters.
So with a roster of 3, is this game multiplayer? Are you able to bring your friends? Oh,
absolutely.
excellent.
Up to 3 characters.
Up to 3, either online or local.
Local too?
Yep.
A lot of guys aren't doing that recently, so that's good. So 3 multiplayer, online, offline. I visited your website. On your website, you've got like the roster. You've got 12 heroes, 12 villains, and so that kind of gives me the impression that could you also swap out those heroes for villains and play the game as 3 villains?
You only play hero characters.
Okay, so those 12 villains are
bosses
like that you encounter in the game.
Yes.
Okay, cool. There is one unknown boss there.
Yes.
Who is that?
I can't tell you who that is.
Can't tell me.
No.
Is that something that we
Spoiler.
find out
It's-
in the game, or something you'll announce later?
It's absolutely, contingent upon this particular game. It's a
Unique to this game, not somebody in the show, or?
That's correct.
Oh, cool.
It's unique just for the development of this storyline.
Awesome. In the roster, did they show Lex Luthor and somebody
Absolutely.
else in the roster? Okay, so people probably already
And
know
I think
that.
to answer your question specifically, I believe everyone we see, I believe that's everyone. Well, I take it back. I know we're in pre-development still, pre-alpha. So I know in early development we still had Black Canary who becomes a trainer and Red Tornado who's sort of your equipment guy that you go to. So and then we have some of the Justice League characters who play support in the game: Batman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, and Superman. So they're also
wow, very nice. Okay,
And villains, there's High School Junior, there's Bane.
These are support. That was the support. At least Superman and.
the Justice League members. Yeah, they're support for
support
the
characters.
game, and then he was talking about some of the villains.
Okay.
The villains that you fight include guys like High School Junior and Bane, and I think it's Killer Frost. I can't remember.
Yes. In some capacity, you'll fight every villain that you see on that roster, including the mystery villain.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And being 3 players, cooperative, both either couch co-op or online co-op, and then you run through the game. About how many missions are in this game, and how long is the
I
experience?
believe it's 17 missions, and the goal is 20 hours of gameplay.
Okay, awesome, excellent. And what platforms is it coming out for?
PS3, Xbox 360, DS, PC,
And the DS 3.
and the 3DS.
Oh, you guys are going all out, huh? What's like the primary sort of console that you have been showing off? Because you put a few screenshots on Facebook. Are those from what system is that from?
I believe those are the PS3.
PS3 versions?
PS3
Okay,
version, yeah.
okay. So what we see there is pretty final, or do you think the graphics
it's really
will improve?
early. Oh yes,
Okay.
the graphics will improve a lot.
Okay, awesome.
This is not even through the first testing stage. So
Yes.
it's really
Pretty alpha,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Just it's more about like game mechanics. Is the game mechanic working? Is the fight working? Is the group dynamic working? That's really what the demo
Well,
is.
I really want to be happy about Young Justice, but
We want you to be happy.
You're mixing one of my this is a very dangerous concoction we have here. You're mixing one of my favorite shows and movie license games. Well, not movies, but license games together. So hopefully this concoction will create a badass game.
I hope we change your outlook on that. I really do. I mean, we all want that.
Yeah,
Whether it turns
I
out
do.
good,
Yeah, I want a good.
We all want that too.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, and
Thanks, Joe.
we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show.